Alright guys, so got a new video for y'all. So you see here, we have this is the head for just a generic GY6 engine. This one's actually not that old. You can probably tell it's very clean. The casting for this thing is pretty crappy. You can see the cooling fins, not very good job, not very well built, honestly. The camshaft goes in here, and you got the timing chain, which goes in the wheel, and the rocker arms go on top, of course. So not most, but all GY6 engines that I've seen are overhead cam, which I guess, they could say, oh, it's higher performance, which honestly it's better than just, the tappets and push rods. That's what I think, at least. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a valve job, as in relapping the valves, because most of you probably have a compression tester out there, and if you check your compression, it's not always the rings on the piston that could be causing that problem, which at most of the time you're like, oh, the rings probably need to be replaced. Well, sometimes it can just be the valves aren't sealing as well. So if you're losing power, maybe you did a compression test, you're not quite at that, for small engines, I'd say about 120, 130 psi. If you're like at 100 or 90, you can still run, but you want to have as much pressure for the highest performance. So you can see here, like car engines, you got the bigger, valve is the intake valve, and the smaller one is the exhaust valve. This is not a very good casting. I'm just saying it's very cheap, which honestly, it's not like I bought it cheap. I don't know why this one was built like that, but yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys how to relap your valves and check your gap. So yeah, here we go. Let's get to it. All right, so the tools you'll be needing is some sort of valve spring compression tool because those springs are pretty tight, so you're going to want to have a compression tool to compress the springs so you can take them apart, because you got to take the valves out. A couple other things you're going to need: some suction cups, lapping handles, I guess you'd call them, and of course the lapping compound. The first time I actually did a valve job was in a Kawasaki KLT 110, small engine, just a little 110, but that was the first time I ever did a valve job, and it's not the only time, but yeah, the first time I did it, and I learned a lot, so I want to teach you guys how to do it properly. Alright, so let's start the first step. Alright, so get your compression tool. Usually looks something like that, and you're going to want to grab, it'll come with all sorts of these fittings. They go on top of your valves. This one actually, wow, look at that, just fit. But you're going to want it, so there's a bunch of fittings like these. You're going to want to make sure the big hole will go on top of the valve and fit it. If it's a little big, it's not a big deal. That one's a little small. This one's maybe try the next size up. See, that one's just too big. So yeah, just find the one that's a decent fit. That's the first step. Then you have to put together your tool. Alright, let's put this tool together. It's been a while since I've done this, but I bet I'll just do fine. So what made me want to do this video was, one, to teach you guys how to do this job, because it's a very cool job. It's very easy, honestly. Like I said, when I did my first valve job on a 3-wheeler, I was like 12, 13 at the time, and it runs amazing. I gotta do some videos on that 3-wheeler. Another thing is I'm actually using some gasket maker, so I gotta wait an hour for that to dry. So I'm like, might as well make a video while I'm waiting on that. So these kits are like, $20 on Amazon or wherever, eBay. They come to the box you carry with. It's not the best, mold. Again, it's cheap. But just, get it something like that. You want to get it around here, and then you see the idea, you're going to be pressing on the valve itself. So almost like you want to get this one as far as you can up because the reason why is you're going to be, the top one is what you'll actually be twisting to compress the valves. So that's why you want to make sure that one's all the way up and that one's all the way down. All right, let's do this. Again, set it up. Bring this one all the way down if you can. Oh, this is, got this the wrong way actually. Okay. All right, so you see I have it, the smaller one on the valve where it's resting and the bigger one over the spring. That's the way you want it to be. So let's start compressing this thing. Get the cheap handle, just simple as twisting it. You actually don't need to release the valves, as in like compress the spring in there that far. As you can see, that's what holds it in. It's a friction, just friction holds that in. So that's, you know, just came out like that. See, not that hard. Then you want to start going backwards. Again, remember these are springs and compression, so don't just like try to yank it out. Okay, so we're losing a little bit of, okay, good. So that's out, just like that. So see, we've got this one out. And then I try, you know, of course, do the best you can not to lose your stuff. So I have a magnetic parts holder that I'm putting all this stuff in. And try to mark it as intake and exhaust because that is specific. And you see, just pop them out. All right, there's a valve. This thing doesn't look that bad, but you know, I'll show you guys how to do this. So why not? Yeah, there's a valve. Not that bad, but I'm just like, what the heck? Let's just do it. So get your valve and get your suction cup that fits it without just falling apart. And I guess the small one is one of these. So you want to use a suction cup to hold it on. And this valve flapping compound is like pretty cheap, and this stuff will, believe me, it'll last because you barely grab any. And then you just, what I do is twist my finger around it. Make sure you do not get the stuff on the valve stem. Okay, just like that. So now you got it on the suction cup. You just want to put it in, make sure you don't have any on the valve stem again. Put it in like that. And you kind of just twist it around. Hear that grinding, and then you lift it up. Let it stay. Be careful when you buy the suction cups because, believe me, some of them are just garbage, some are really good. Okay, so you can hear it getting a higher pitch, right? Hear that? It's getting a higher pitch. That's what you're looking for. Well, hear it. You're listening for, not looking for. And you really want to do this until it's like almost silent. It can take a while. Just repeat the process. Yeah, looking good, looking good. Again, it's not the hardest job, but again, just, you know, let it get a higher pitch. Like that, you hear that? But can you hear how high it's getting? Yeah, there we go. Almost done. Alright, so the way you put this back together is really simple. Just the opposite the way you took it apart. You know, make sure you have the exhaust with exhaust and intake with intake. Put that ring back on. And then put the springs, you know, obviously the smaller one goes on the inside. I wonder why. Maybe because it won't fit if it's not. Get your tool. Raise it up. But yeah, like I said, my friend, it took us a while to get these in. Alright, let's try this again. Almost in there. Magnetic tool would help if you got that. Alright, I think I got it in place. Just press it a little bit more. Come on. Okay, there we go. The valve has been fixed. Just like that.